Howdy, folks. Welcome. All right, let's see. Welcome to the live stream here. Let me make sure this is working. Uh, can you guys hear me okay? That's the first thing. I haven't done this on this laptop before. I'll make sure the audio seems kind of low, doesn't it? I can barely see the audio. Let's see here. If we can get the audio levels a little higher. I know you're watching this on replay. Like, why is John messing with his audio on stream? It's because I've never used this before. So we're gonna do it live. F it, we're doing it live. Microphone setup. Let's see. Voice speed, manage voices. No, that's not it. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Hi, NA. How you doing? I'm just trying to see if I can get my microphone. Oh, that's speech detection. I don't want that. All right. Hello, Haley Adelaide Films. Can you guys hear me okay? As it just seems kind of soft to me. It looks, at least the volume on the little diagram thingy says I'm soft, but I don't know how to get that audio louder, other than to just speak louder. You can hear me very good, says Carlos. Okay, maybe I'm not going to worry about it. Cool. Let's just leave it at that then. Welcome. So this is streaming from Las Vegas. I can show you the view outside my. Well, it's kind of, you can barely. For some reason, I don't know how to turn off this little weird blurriness that's behind me. Um, Again, I've never used the webcam function of YouTube, and I plan on going live out here, but I just never used it, and that's my own fault. But hey, that's why we're doing these things completely off the cuff and live, and that's what's exciting about it. Like we'll save the really really uh, hardcore really hardcore like good productions for a actual written out video recorded and edited and all that stuff. So yes, you know what, I'm not gonna worry about it. We'll just hang out and chat. So Rob Fritz, as you can hear us loud, good and loud and clear. Good. Okay, good. At least you can hear it. That's all that matters. And Rob says he uses a Samsung Android phone. So yep. Yeah, I'm sharp in the background. It's that fake blur. I don't know. It's like the Zoom calls. They do the fake blur on the background. I have no idea what's causing that. Like I think it's YouTube doing it. But I was trying to find the actual like edits, like just so you could actually just see the background. I don't really like the blur. I don't. I mean, I don't mind. I don't know how to change it. So sorry about that. You're gonna have to live with it. This is an impromptu get hangout. So Vegas, I'm here in Las Vegas for the NAB convention. If you don't know what that is, that's the National Association of Broadcasters convention, which is kind of more my jam. Although I'd like to go see Cine Gear, my jam has always been broadcasting. I've actually, if you guys don't know me, my history, I've always been more along in the when film versus video was still a debate. I was more in the video camp. Like I was always a digital guy. I have dipped my toe back into shooting film, and I think it's absolutely awesome. I would love to have the budget to actually make a film in film. NAB dyslexia strikes again. Yeah, I'd like to actually have the budget to make film on film. However, I just love digital. I've always been a digital guy. So so I've always been to NAB. I've been going to NAB for first time was probably maybe 16 years ago, and I went for a period where I went every single year for like 11, 12 years, and then took a little break because my finances were tight, and I was like, I don't really need to go see the same old thing. And then was planned. It started coming back again, and then the pandemic hit, and we canceled NAB, and they tried to hold it again in October, but then everyone backed out of it, and I was like, well, what's the point in holding it in October? We're going to hold it in April again. So here we are in April. We're back at the NAB. So that's the history of why I like NAB. And if you watch my video on post production, non-linear editing, I talk a lot about NAB because it's got a long history of introducing major technology like the videotape Ampex videotape was introduced in the NAB. But back then they were having it at Chicago because Vegas wasn't quite the convention capital of the world it is today. So quick comments here. Growth Mindset had a question. What microphone will you be using for possible interviews? What microphones to get ambient sound? Thanks, been on the fence about getting a Sennheiser G4 ANG wireless microphone, but not sure that most wireless microphones don't sound very crisp and high quality. What are your thoughts? The Sennheiser sounds is pretty good. I have a G4. I think it's a G4 ENG. It's very good. The other one I have is a Rode, the Mic Pro, which is about half the cost. It doesn't, to me, sound quite as good as the Sennheiser, but it's not a bad option either. Although on the floor today, the NAB show, and I really, honestly, I was kind of, I've been kind of down about video production, but going on the floor, and I've actually got recognized quite a bit. It really invigorating. So thank you to all the guys that, if you're watching it later, if you saw me on the floor and said hi, you don't realize how much it means to me, to be recognized and appreciated. It's really invigorating. I talked to somebody on the floor today, and we're talking about this. He had these little Tascam, little mini recorders that with a lav on it, and you don't even need. So you don't even need wireless. You just record it on the little tiny, and it's about the size of a matchbox. If your kids know what a matchbox is, it's about this big, and it's got a little lav on it, and it takes like an SD card, and you just put it on the person, you hit record, and you walk, and that's it. So that's an option if you wanted to, if you wanted something cheaper than doing a wireless setup, get yourself maybe a couple of those, because they go about $100, $120. I mean, you can get two of them for less than the Sennheiser G4, and you would get pretty high quality. I mean, 16-bit audio, really. It's 16-bit audio, and apparently, according to the guy, it records two tracks, one track at normal volume, one track with 12 dB down. So you're going to get quite an option. So that might be an option to decide. Luke asks, "What are your thoughts, if any, on Musk buying Twitter?" I love this story. If you've watched my video on, I'm actually much closer to the whole Elon Musk free speech absolutist. I have experience. There's one guy that was pushing back on Elon Musk's buying Twitter, and he was saying, you don't realize what you're getting yourself into here, Musk. I mean, running a social media is very much a hard issue, because and I've done a little bit of it working with Filmmaker IQ. Kind of we've worked with inside our own social medias, and the point this guy was making was, you've got to make decisions. Unfortunately, when you run a social media platform, you can't be completely 100% free speech. I think Musk can be much more free speech than the current regime has been. But the fact of the matter is, there are things that you can't allow on social media as far as speech. I'm not going to necessarily go into exactly, but there are certain things. Well, child porn is one example. No one is going to say you can allow child porn on social media. Let's be clear about that, right? So that is something you're going to have to curb. So you have to draw the lines somewhere. It is messy. The truth is, when any kind of social network maintaining or monitoring the free speech or speech on a social network is going to be messy. It's just the truth. But there's somebody that was saying that a lot of times when people get banned from certain things, it's not necessarily what they say, it's how they said it. And I've honestly, when I've dealt with my own social media, as far as with Filmmaker IQ's page and all that, we were pretty quick to drop ban hammers on people, because we weren't a platform, we were a page. It's still a little different experience. But honestly, I think what Musk can do would be to introduce things like transparency in the algorithm. So if you wanted to just turn off all your sorting algorithms, just show me a stream of everything that's happening right now, unfiltered, unordered, you can do that. And it's something, for some reason, the current Twitter hasn't been a fan of. And of course, obviously, I think maybe one of the things that sparked it off was banning the Babylon Bee, which seems kind of innocuous or a stupid move on their part. So hopefully, hopefully he does something like that. It's kind of funny how amazing how, or it's amazing how Elon Musk has become sort of. He's like Edison rolled into uh, rolled into Tony Stark basically. And I know some people are like, some news organizations are calling him a supervillain. I don't think he's a supervillain, but it seems like it's interesting. Luke says sunlight is the best disinfectant for, especially for bad ideas, and I agree. Again, there are lines that have to be drawn. It's messy. It really, and then I you know I would I would want to err on the absolutist part, the free speech absolutist. But again, stuff like child porn, you can't. I mean, it's illegal, right? So society has deemed it so bad that it's considered illegal. I mean, that's not free speech anymore. So it's because it's not free speech because you're sexually violating minors. That can't that's no longer protected free speech anymore. But where's that line get drawn? Oh, I think my housekeeping's done. Oh, come on in. Can you come back in about an hour or so? Was that? Hold on, I'll be right back. Oh, no one's been yet today. No, not yet. Oh, maybe come back in a couple hours soon. Come on. Right. Sorry about that, guys. So, I mean, we are live. So, all right. So, anyhow, what were we talking about? We're talking about child porn. That sounds horrible. Please don't cut that out. Get me canceled. Mark McKinney says, "Have you seen the Other Side of the Wind documentary on Netflix yet? If so, what do you think?" No, I haven't seen it. What is that? Other Side of the Wind. Not sure what that is. I think I might have heard of it. I got my new TV in, and I'm really excited about that. I got the Sony AJ 77-inch AJ 08 or 80, something like that. And I think I want to do a video on how it's an OLED screen, and I want to do a video on how to get 24 frames per second sing in OLED. And the secret is black frame insertion. Black frame insertion is amazing. It's amazing how much it changes the character. And I'm watching this thing on the screen and like, wow, this looks like real. This looks like the way I remember 24 frames looking. It's not quite theater style, but it's more closer to the way I watch in television formats. And I think it looks way better. Sony has a term for it called like motion. It's not motion smoothing. It's motion clarity. They call it clarity because I guess it reduces the amount of visual motion blur. Um, the downside with black frame insertion is you can't watch it. It decreases the brightness of your screen, and I mean, for some people they think it's a deal breaker. But the problem is, the thing is, when you go to the movie theater, there aren't any windows in the movie theater. It's dark. So black frame insertion does, you want to mimic the experience of a movie theater. You won't need to actually watch your TV in a darker room. Not necessarily darkened, not all the way dark, but a darkened room. Sorry, I'm just trying to get comfortable here. All right. My little makeshift stand on my laptop so they can actually see me, and I'm framed properly. Okay. The mess is probably that it's international. The different countries have different rules, so no government can set out the rules to go by. Same with all so-called media. You're talking about free speech, yeah. I mean, the thing is, Twitter is based in America, so we kind of default on American rules. And then, of course, every country has different speech rules, so we'll see what that does. So, anyhow, NAB was pretty good. I guess it started yesterday. I didn't realize it started on Sunday. I missed the opening night party, which I'm kind of ashamed of. I didn't get my badge in time. You need to get your badge in order to go. I think there's a big push right now for the movie theater I've been are brighter than my TV room. Damn mandatory emergency lighting. I don't know about that. maybe maybe you feel like the emergency lighting is so damn bright. What was I gonna say? Oh, so there seems to be a big push right now toward virtual production. I think virtual production is something that's easy to sell. because you go to NAB, you go to a convention hall and you can set up a virtual production. They had a virtual production. Let's see if where's my phone? I can show you. Oh, I gotta make sure I charge this thing before I go. But they had a big. They had like one of those motorcycle things from Tron, and they were demonstrating some of the motorcycle. Let's see if I can find a photo of it here. So, see, can you? Yeah, you can barely see that. It's stupid blurring thing on the phone. Anyhow, well, too bad. We're not in a good place to show it to you. But basically, this guy's riding a motorcycle. Behind him is an LCD wall, and they've got a robotic camera with tracking motion. So it's doing all these cool flying effects around this guy. He's riding the motorcycle. I kind of wanted to do it and be like checking my phone and then like, hey, flipping off the next driver that almost cut me off. But I didn't bother doing that. So there seems to be a big push toward virtual production, and I guess NAB, when you have big corporate clients, they can afford that, and cool. It's better than green screen, because green screen's always been big before. They'd always have like big giant cycloramas and virtual production, virtual sets that way. So it's a visually selling thing. But I think for filmmakers, honestly, it's nice, but it requires a level of production that's well beyond independent film making and almost maybe counter to independent film. Because the other day I was watching, I hadn't seen it in like 20 years. I watched Boogie Nights. Nights is quite a remarkable time capsule of a movie. To watch it and look at this movie with all these people that are now much bigger stars than they were back then, and they're just kind of fresh faced at that time. John C. Reilly was thin. To speak of that as a rotund guy myself. John C. Reilly looked a lot thinner back in that movie, but that movie has a very grounded in reality feel, and you couldn't do that movie if you virtual set. It just doesn't have that feel. I don't think like Quentin Tarantino would necessarily make like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on virtual sets. It just doesn't. It doesn't jive. Maybe you make your Star Wars movies on virtual sets. You make maybe you make your cool music videos, and there's lots of applications for it. But I think there's something about real life sets that are useful and nice. Your comments here, Unity, OC, the movie theaters I've been to are okay. You said I picked that one. Growth mindset. Any NAB unveilings that you're looking forward to? What VR related products did you see? And I didn't see anything VR, but again, I didn't deep dive. I just kind of walked the halls and just kind of saw what was new, what the trends seemed to be. So there's not a whole lot like groundbreakingly new. I think it's something like this is more of a way to just kind of get in there and kind of chat with people, see what. I did see Adobe. They had the editor for the movie that I love, Everything Everywhere All at Once. He was talking about some of his work on that movie, and it kind of got me to. I had an idea for a video that I wanted to do. The thing is, man, I think I have the wrong impression about some YouTube, because every time I see YouTube comments, they're infuriating. So I get a sense that people on YouTube are either just a-holes, but I don't think they are. I don't think you guys are a-holes. But I think the commenters sometimes can be that way. They're just stupid. But one of the rules I wanted to express was always shoot the frame rate you intend to play back star unless you have a reason not to, which is like the star for everything. I think it's like the caveat for everything involved with video production, filmmaking, unless you have a reason not to. And so they're talking about how they shot the fight scenes from Not Everywhere, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And they overcranked the camera. I think they shot at 48 frames per second. Of course, they shot it that way, not to show it in 48 frames per second, but to play back at 24 frames per second, but have the ability to slow down or speed up the motion. And the guy was demonstrating how they would literally, if you wanted a punch to just land a little bit faster, or you wanted this actor who played Short Round in the Temple of Doom movie, he did this thing where he wrapped this cable around this guy's neck and then turned around and flipped him over. Well, when he did it live, he's like, it's an indie film. We don't necessarily have 6 months of training here. He did, and he kind of slowed down a little bit to make sure he was being safe, and then did the maneuver. But it's like, well, I can speed that up in post. I can just go ahead and shorten that up, by 20%, make it go a little bit faster, and I can slow down these parts, so they can actually edit the performance of the fight scene. And I thought that'd be kind of a cool idea. So maybe I'll team up with the stunts guy to do like, or even I have a martial arts friend that we used on Out of Sync, and maybe mess around with some of that. It's been I during the pandemic I got really busy with doing a lot of corporate municipal work, and it pays pretty well. So I ended up doing a lot of that. And now my mom got really to the point where she can't walk, so I spend half the time. So my days split, but not feeling bad about myself. We're not doing that here. But I want to get back to making some videos and making some more content. Got to meet Caleb Pike. So he saw him on the show floor. So we talked a little bit, but it's really cool. DJ Kevin says, do you think there will be manufacturers get any resolution higher than 8K? Good question. Not really. They're pushing 8K live streaming. Blackmagic's telling you, we got equipment to do 8K live stream. I don't think anybody cares, honestly. I don't even think 8K is really that useful. I think 4K is the limit. Like, so I'm working on a video for a high school right now, and they want like I call it an anthem video. It's basically like really cool, just a highlight reel of the campus of what the school represents and what they do. And we're going to shoot some interviews. So we're going to do like interview packages and all that. But I shot it on my C70 in 4K, shot a lot of it in high frame rate just to slow it down. A lot of like sports stuff, 100, I think it's 120 frames a second. And it looks, it's a C70, and I bought a new lens, the Canon 70-200. I think it's version 3. They're f2.8. It's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. Hi, Rick. Thanks for the super chat. I shot, getting back to my point, shot in 4K. I first did a 1080p render pass, or just timeline, thinking, I'll just do a 1080p. I send it to him, and I take it home, and I watch it on my beautiful 4K television, and I was like, wow, this looks great. And I didn't even necessarily notice it wasn't 4K. That's the thing. Like and then I had to, the next day I went back and I changed the sequence settings and made it 4K. I haven't watched it yet in 4K, but I don't think I would necessarily see that much difference. I built my TV set, so I'm within SMTP, I think, standards for viewing distance. I'm pretty close to the television, but I think 4K is the limit. I think there is a visually difference between HD and 4K. I think it's there. I can see it if I look hard enough. I can see it. But 4K and 8K from normal viewing distances, there's no way. And so Unity says, surely 8K is open matte to 4K Super 35, lets you reframe, pan, and post Fincher style. I mean, sure. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's not, but to think that, you've got to shoot 8K, you don't have to. That's the thing. The thing also to remember, like, technology allows us to do certain things, so it doesn't necessarily replace doing certain things. So, I got in trouble. Well, I didn't get in trouble, but I made a video about 32-bit floating recording, which I said, it's cool, but you don't need it. Like, if you just set your levels right, you don't necessarily need 32-bit float. Because I've been doing 24-bit float, and I just did a recording of a symphony. We did a Brahms piece, which is just solo flute and like some string section, which is nice and pretty and very, not too loud. And then we did Beethoven's Seventh, which was bombastic with French horns screaming their heads off. And I recorded both of those. Neither peaked. Neither even came close to peaking. And it sounds great. So 24-bit anyhow. So 32-bit float doesn't necessarily bring anything to the table that doesn't already there. Same thing with 8K. It's like, okay, you can reframe, and that's not a bad thing. That's saying you need to go out. You should feel bad for reframing your shot, because I do it all the time too. It's just I don't know. I mean, sure, it's cool. Why not? I Rich says that's how I use 4K to pan and zoom when I produce 1080. I do too. I do too. Rick John says, "Hey John, facial hair. Is my facial hair getting thicker? Yeah, it's getting a little bit. I need to a little buzz it back a little bit. But that's not to say that 8K doesn't have its purpose or function, or that it's useful. And of course, it's useful. It's just, you gotta get a. I want to get away from people getting the impression that you need 8K. You don't need 8K. Do you need 4K? I would say you don't need it, but geez, you really should at this point be shooting 4K. You don't necessarily need to, because we're still mostly delivering 1080. 1080 is still kind of king right now as far as like delivery. It just is. Now, you obviously want to have 4K because you want to have that option of giving 4K, but 1080 is great too. I guess, and again, it all depends on exactly how you are. Remember the asterisks, unless you have a good reason not to, right? If you know what your delivery is at 4K, if you're going to Netflix, I guess everyone wants to go to Netflix. I understand. Whatever if you're making YouTube videos, I don't think anybody gets that much benefit from 4K unless you're shooting beauty stuff, like beautiful panoramas and stuff that's like high end. DJ TV says, old school, I still use 720. Yeah, why not? I mean, to me, 720 is starting to see a little bit of its age, a little bit. But for if you're watching stuff on video, like right now, I'm looking at myself. I'm like, I probably should be at 720. This doesn't look that great. Right, says sensor lens qualities and compression definitely matters more than resolution. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's the other thing I was dealing with too when I was watching my video. It's like, yeah, I could see the compression artifact and getting a little bit harsh on some of the stuff. So compression matters way more than resolution. Resolution is we're at the point where it's beyond what we can see. Rambo says, I'm also and some people see bigger number and they're willing to argue with blind tests. Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, so I got this one a-hole on my 32-bit float video yesterday. Just started going off, just rambling. It's like, I record loud music. I'm like, I just turn down your gain. He said, no, it has to be loud. I allow my cats and dogs love my loud music. It's got to be loud. It's like, and I wrote back, well, yeah, but don't you understand this? It goes to 11, because that's what the argument became like. Why don't you just turn it down and then turn it up in post? Yeah. Unity says, specifically for YouTube people, upload 4K to get higher bitrate. Looks better when downscaled again to HD. The problem with that is you never know what YouTube's up to right now. Like, that might have been true when like Linus tested it out like 2 years ago. But is it true now? I mean, if you upload a ProRes file in like a standard 1080 ProRes file, does it get better encoding than 4K? I don't know. Like, and you never know. Like, you'll never know until you do a test, basically. So, is it still true? Right says, well, should be, could be. I've tested it on some of my stuff, and to be fair, don't see a difference. Like 4K versus a 1080p upload of the same quality. Maybe it's the bit rate. So you're telling me the bit rate gets like throttled down at 1080 because if it's not 4K, maybe. I mean, maybe the stuff I upload is just so efficient that because I kind of judge it by the graphics. Like, the graphics look really sharp and clean, but that might be because, well, it's lower bit rate, so you don't have the noise. So maybe that's what it is. But again, the point is, like, you never know what YouTube's going to do. You don't know what fuckery is going on at Google, because they're it's just what it is. What it is, unfortunately. But hey, why not? And if you can do that's the other the other nasty thing too about that point is, see, it's getting my focus, my fingering. Oh, look how big my hand is. Uh, you can just edit in 1080, then upscale it to 4K, render it, and then send the 4K file to YouTube. That's it. Rick, can you tell the difference on YouTube while watching it on your phone? Exactly. Although my Sony TV has YouTube, and I do watch. The first couple things I watched on that was I watched my short film that I made for uh, uh, Out of Sync for that one company, and watched it because I knew how it looked, so I wanted to see what it looked like on the screen because I wanted to see it look fantastic. Actually, I watched my Fox video too, my 20th Century Fox video. That was good. Honking my own horn. Well, I know what it looked like. I know what it looks like properly. So, and watching it on a screen, actually experimented too with like the motion smoothing, and was like, oh, video, film, going back and forth between the, because that's the big thing when I was trying to pick out my TV, was trying to find a TV that would make movies look right. Because I didn't want to spend the money on OLED TV and get something that didn't have the right character for 24, because I'm the 24 guy, so I have to be the 24 guy. You can't come to my house and watch TV and see motion smoothing. Not me. Anyhow, you have any of your short films online to watch? I have. Well, Out of Sync is online on my YouTube channel. I had a Vimeo Pro account for a while, and I didn't realize it. When you cancel your Vimeo Pro account, they delete all your videos. I used to have my short films on Vimeo. So, I mean, I had like I had at least 3 or 4 of them online. Um, but I got to go find them and upload them somewhere. Eventually, it's got to get back up on there. But I do want to, I really want to gear up to make another short film. I had this idea. I can kind of share. It's a little bit about it's about a guy who falls in love with a multidimensional elf. That's basically it. It's the machine elves, some DMT stuff. Yeah, it's like I love, obviously I love bizarre, weird movies like the I don't know if I talked about it when I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once. I love that movie. I made a connection that it's very much like Swiss Army Man. I didn't realize the Daniels also directed Swiss Army Man, so they're the same kind of flavor. I want to do something not necessarily similar, but I want to do something with that kind of aesthetic, just craziness, bizarre, weird, and awesome. So, Kicking with Timmy B. Love your videos. Thank you, man. Gotta make more of them. Dang it, more of them. Rigel7, Johnny O. Thank you. Come on by. Yeah, and I haven't been streaming lately because I usually stream on Wednesdays, but every Wednesday I've been swamped with stuff. Like, I just don't have time to do anything right now. All right, this trip to Vegas here, I'm only here till tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going back. But this is sort of my way to get away from things. Okay, I'll go. So you don't know, my mom's right now, she can't really walk, and she has dementia, and she has this thing where she kind of moans the whole time. So and I live with her to take care of her, but it's hard. Like, I can't at night. I'm hearing her moan, and I have to help her go to the bathroom, and hope she doesn't accidentally go to the bathroom while not in the bathroom. Let's put it that way. So it's hard to try to do it, juggle everything, and then I'm trying to fix the house. So I got my living room kind of rebuilt. I still need to clean it up. I need to clean up my dining room, my family room. Looking at trying to redo my kitchen. I got a bathtub that I bought for my mom. That's a walk-in tub that I need to fix because they shipped it with a leak, and then the company that shipped it has horrible customer service, and oh no, we'll send you some parts. What am I gonna do with parts? Fix my bathtub? No. So I'm hoping I can just fix the damn thing and get that working for her. So all this is going on, and then I suddenly got super busy because everyone's calling me because I guess the school year is over, so everything wants to do school stuff, and things are just getting busy. So I haven't had time to do much of anything. But I've got one video that I've written. I know I'm repeating I think I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I haven't seen you guys in a couple weeks, so it's okay to repeat myself. I've got one video written for normal lenses, which I want to shoot, and I got some other ideas and then maybe I'll do a video on how to make what to look for as far as in a TV screen, what to look for to get really good, movie viewing. So, Rick H, you're a good son. I understand. Thank you so much. I hope you appreciate that, because I feel like otherwise I do feel like I'm a lazy bum, but I'm trying not to be. I'm trying not to be. It's just, it's hard. In my house and my studio are just messy. It's disastrous, but we gotta fix that. We're fixing it. We're working on it. Growth Mindset says, how much difference is there from a video that was upscaled to 1080 to 4K compared to 4K alone only? I don't know. I mean, obviously, there is going to be, a difference, but it depends on what the video is. If you have nothing but sharp edged graphics, then maybe not much difference at all. If all you have is like, text on screen, I don't know. It depends on how many, how much, if you're having, lots of fast moving action doesn't really matter, but, test it out. All right. Let's see. Any other comments I missed? Anime compresses well. Oh, I was watching Cowboy Bebop on my TV. And Cowboy Bebop is SD. It's standard definition. Looks great in 4K. I mean, it's SD, but whatever the algorithm of the TV set to upscale that to 4K, it looks fantastic. In SD version looks fantastic. Oh, Rigel, today was your first day of my first ever internship. Very weird thing to say. Awesome. Where are you interning, Rigel? Let's see. Do you have a favorite lens or focal length that you use? Oh, good question. I used to shoot a lot more wide, honestly. I haven't shot a lot of wide stuff lately. I do like I think I haven't busted this out in a long time because I got some better lenses and I never kind of didn't go back to them for a long time. I had I think it was a 14 to 17. What's the name of that lens? What's the name of that brand? It wasn't Tamron. It was the other lens. And on a 14 to 18, if you use it on a full frame, it actually won't cover a full frame camera, but it's got a really cool, bizarre, like barrel look it's not bizarre, but it's a barrel fisheye lens look without being quite fisheye. Although I do have a fisheye lens. But, the thing is about those lenses, I purchased one cinema lens and a couple other lenses that I kind of like more, that I haven't used the wide angle so much, but 24, 35, those kind of lenses are a little more to my liking, I guess. I don't know. But I also, I find myself depending when I'm shooting too, like when I was shooting sports for the high school, I love the 70 to 200 2.8. That was my jam. I would oftentimes shoot at 200 with the with a crop sensor, the Super 35 sensor, so it's a little bit closer to 300, I guess, if you're counting in full frame. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyhow, Growth Mindset says, unfortunately, Bebop was canceled after. No, I mean Cowboy Bebop the anime, Cowboy Bebop the show. I can see why they canceled that. Anyhow. I looked up the old 3:4:3 aspect ratio online and found some articles on some websites said it was coming back for some reason. What are your thoughts of it, or if you've ever heard of it? Yeah, it's coming back in the sense that there are some people that shoot with 4:3. I mean, everything old is new again. Like I don't particularly I don't like doing things out of nostalgia. Like I kind of personally hate the VHS look because honestly, I don't think VHS looked like that anyway. I'm just not a big fan of nostalgia. So would I shoot 4:3? Not really. Now, what's more interesting to me is the difference between shooting 16:9 and 2.39 or 2.37 or whatever the hell it is. 239? I think it's 39. Technically, it's 39, right? And I was trying to debate I was debating because I was shooting this high school video to whether I wanted to do 16 by 9 or 2.39. And I dropped in the 2.39, mat onto my timeline, and I discovered that I don't really care for it. Like for this project. For this project, I didn't, but I also didn't care for the 16 by 9. So I kind of went halfway. I took the 2.39 and kind of blew it up by 12%. So it's somewhere probably in the range of, 2.0 maybe. Said that, I found that was a good kind of a, I wasn't being strict about it, because they're not going to be strict about it. I just like a little bit narrower, but not as narrow as a CinemaScope, but just a little bit, and just made it feel a little bit more epic. That's the whole point of the video, was to be epic. I'm at the post-production company connected with Trailer Park Boys and SwearNet. Oh, good for you, man, Nigel. I'm proud of you. That's awesome. That is really cool. I remember being an intern at one point. It's good. So learn all you can. Don't be afraid to make friends there, because they will help you out in your future. They will help you out. Have you ever thought about shooting anamorphic lenses on the camera turned on its side? Epic Light Media made a video on it. It looked mind blowing. Huh. So shoot a 9x16 portrait mode and then with the anamorphic? Maybe. That might. What would that get you? That would make it 16 by 18. So square almost. Instagram. Kind of cool. Unity says, coming from still photography, it's hard for me to wrap my head around videographers deciding aspect ratio in post. I guess I'm a stickler for exact framing. Yeah. I mean, depends on how obviously how you shoot. You don't necessarily want to decide the aspect ratio in post. It'd be better to go at it from okay, here's what aspect ratio we want to aim for, and then go into your camera and hopefully put the markers or something that say I'm going to shoot 2.39. I'm going to frame it for 2.39. But when I'm shooting the sports stuff, it's just go out there, capture whatever I can, and then get back into it. It's what do I want? That 2.39 looks a little too wide. The 2.0 looks a little bit better. That's what I ended up with. Wright says they use anamorphic lens on an adapter on top. Ended up being 1.5 or 1.55. Yeah, that makes sense. So 1.5, that's 16 by 24. No. Yeah, 16 by 24. Something like that. Cool. I mean, you could try it out on your cell phone, I guess. They do make cell phone anamorphics. I have a couple of those I use for demonstrating some stuff about anamorphic lenses. So, yeah. Any other question? Okay, so I did see The Northman. So I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I saw The Northman last Friday. I gotta say, I didn't particularly care for the movie. It didn't thrill me, but man, oh man, that Robert Eggers, I feel like I'm just obligated to see whatever he makes from now on, because he just makes. I can't wait thinking he makes movies for people living in other time periods. He made the Vivitch, for people that lived in Salem, Massachusetts, that are terrified by witches. Puritanical, is a puritanical horror movie to the extreme. And they made Lighthouse for people that lived in the Nova Scotia in the late 1800s, Herman Melville style people, people that loved Moby Dick, that kind of a thing. And then he made The Northman for basically Vikings. It's, I mean, not to be crass, but it's I can just see people watching that, crazy white people. It's just, I wasn't, I think honestly, it's the most accessible movie as far as the story. At no point are you really confused at what the hell is going on in The Northman. It's a very accessible movie in that sense. It has a lot of trippy stuff in it, but it doesn't feel like it's a movie that's hard to dissect necessarily. Rigel says, a Nova Scotian from 1800s, I thank him. Yeah. If you are a Viking, then I think you will absolutely love the Northman. Um, it it's very well made. It's very well acted. It's very well shot. It's very well everything edited. Everything's great. It just didn't move me. It didn't move me at all. Not that I didn't like it. Well, not that I hated it or anything. I just did. It was kind of average for me. It wasn't. It didn't strike me. Like The Witch struck me as pretty unique. The Lighthouse, I wasn't crazy about it, but I feel like there's it's indelible. Like the memories of it are indelible. You know, Willem Dafoe is so good in The Lighthouse. You know, say you like me lobsters. Say you like me lobster. You know, that kind of thing. Spill your beans. That kind of stuff. Northman, honestly, I've kind of forgotten most of it, except maybe at the very end where he's riding to Valhalla. Sorry, spoiler. Well, there is an. I mean, not to spoil the movie completely, but it does have some Star Wars reference toward the end. If you guys have seen it, we all have a little Viking in us, whether we want it or not. Glenn Foster. We also have a little Mongolian in us too. Yeah. I mean that Genghis Khan got around. Yeah, he fathered a lot of children. So yeah, that's what I thought about the Northman. Although I'm still thinking about Everything Everywhere All at Once. So that to me was a mind blowing movie. If you wanted to go see a movie, go see Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm still on that. I haven't seen it again. I'm debating. I may go see it this coming weekend, but I also don't want. I also feel like I don't want to watch it again too close because you can oversaturate yourself with a movie that powerfully or that different. Coming to watching it again with watching it again after knowing how it ends, knowing how everything goes, you can either get bored or you might pick up more things, and I don't know how it's going to go. Anyhow, well, another new bit of news is I got hired to do trumpet for another musical. This one is at the Moonlight Theater in Vista, which is going to require me to do a lot more time on that one. I mean, hopefully I can get my friend Joe to help me carry some load on some of the other projects I've been shooting. But that'll be a fun experience. I looked at the music. It's a show called Memphis, and you can probably watch that on Netflix actually. I believe, and it's on YouTube. Trumpet IQ. Uh, the first notes of this one of the songs. It's like I don't think it's the very first song. It's like the song right after maybe the. It's not really an overture. I don't believe it's like maybe there's a little stinger at the very beginning, and it goes in the first song. First song has a double F sharp. It goes ba da 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 ba da ba da. It's like holy crap! I'm gonna have to play this thing every night and try to. I gotta start practicing. I gotta get warmed up for that. I mean, I can do it. I'm not afraid of it, but it's like it's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be a challenge. Fun Sky asked, "Do I like cheese pizza?" And the answer is, of course. Who doesn't like cheese pizza? What are you? What are you against cheese pizza? I mean, I prefer pepperoni pizza, but I will eat cheese pizza. Tonight I have reservations for the Win. I'm going to the Win buffet. I've never been there. It's supposed to be really good. So, and I got the all you can drink package because I'm in Vegas. I don't gamble in Vegas. I don't actually. I don't. I mean, I could go drop a couple bucks in a machine, but I don't really have any desire to gamble. I'm here for the food and for the insanity of humanity after being locked down for 2 years. They actually get out there and see people. It's nice. It's nice. I have to see people. What else is there? What else? I had something on the top of my head I was going to share with you guys, but I forgot what it was. Shoot. Well, cheese pizza. Any other questions you have as far as NAB or anything you want to talk about? I am open book for you guys. Buffet enjoy. Oh, that's what I was saying. Buffet enjoy. Yeah, we could talk about strategies because I'm not a thin guy, as you can tell. So there is this thing in Vegas. I don't know how many people are fans of all you can eat sushi. Sushi fans here. So in California, they I don't know if it's about where you guys are, but they institute a round. It's a system. It's a game. All you can eat sushi. They give you a slip of paper, and you have 3 rounds. and you get to mark whatever you want per round, and then they bring you the food, and then you eat it. Or if and then if you don't eat it, then you've got to then they'll charge you extra for not eating it all, right? So you want to always make sure you eat all the food. But the problem is that causes a lot of stress. So it's just not a good experience to me. Every time I go to all you can eat sushi, it makes me nervous because it's like, well, let's get that. Oh, that's good. Let's get that. And then you get all the food and you like eat it all. Oh my god, I'll get one more thing. You get two more. Oh, I ate too much. I can't. But in Vegas, they have this place. I'm going to shout them out this time. I'm not getting paid by them. I gave them money last night. It's called Yama Sushi, and it is endless rounds. Now you would think that by giving you endless rounds, they just all you gotta do is they tell them what you want, they write it down, and they bring it to you. They tell you what you want and they bring it to you. You would think that would cause you to eat more, but no, it causes you to eat less because then you don't have any pressure to order too much food. You just order, hey, I'll have the tuna, I'll have the salmon, let's do one of those rolls, and that'll be good for now. They bring it to you, you eat it, and like, oh, that's delicious. I want some more. I'm gonna get that roll. I'm gonna get some eel. I'll get a miso soup. You order that, they bring it to you, and then you start feeling full, and then you can lower the amount of things you order. And you first, there's no stress for the rounds. You don't have to worry about ordering too much or ordering, oh, I'm gonna run out of food. I'm gonna run out of rounds. There's none of that. There's no like pushiness, like, oh, you gotta make sure you eat all your rice. It's such a better experience, this endless round. I think you eat less and you feel better about it. You're just happier. It's a better experience. I wish California would do that, would just take the it's counterintuitive. You're letting people eat as much as order as many rounds as they want, eat as much as you want, and it's all you can eat, right? But it's so much better experience than this whole round business that I can't go back to the rounds. It makes me nervous to go to all you can eat sushi place and just get like rounds. It just makes me ugh. And it's also cheaper than California. Well, everything's cheaper than California. California's prices are just ridiculous. Growth Mindset says, what do you recommend to do when traveling with gear to Las Vegas? Not much. Get away with shooting on the strip wherever you want. They're not going to ask you a permit because who gives a crap? It's Vegas. Obviously, you can't shut things down. You don't want to be flying your drone down Las Vegas Boulevard. That would get you in trouble. Depends on how you're traveling. If you're traveling by air, I have no recommendations on how to fly with gear. I honestly do not know. Maybe the best way to do it is literally just put it in a UPS box and ship it to you, rather than trying to put it on an airplane because who knows? Who knows what's going to happen on the airplane? You hate to have your camera in baggage claim, and it's not in the city. It's in Timbuktu. So I have no recommendation. Again, maybe the best thing to do is to ship it. Another option is to use one of these Lens Pro to go, or borrow lenses or something. Rent the gear, have it shipped to the hotel, rather than using your own gear. Sometimes that's a better option because that way, and then you can ship it back from here. That might be the best way to do it. So, yeah, on that topic, I think that's like, I don't travel that much, honestly. Although when I do travel, I just take my van. I just put everything in the van. I don't like to fly with gear. Too nerve wracking. Rigel said, "Yo, sushi, yes. Although mostly crab. I'm picky. Yeah, I'm there's almost nothing I don't like. I mean, I don't eat the yellow little eggy eggs. It's too salty for me. Unity, do you think Alexa's dominance in high end will be broken? I think it already has. I don't think Alexa's dominating anymore. I mean, maybe they have like 50% of the productions, but I think Sony made huge inroads with the Venice. Like, a lot of those shows are using the Sony Venice. And I think Canon's high end offerings is in there too. And then Red, obviously, I think it's becoming more like it's more like there's going to be like four or five that are just everyone's just had different flavors. Red, Ari, Sony, Canon. I don't think Black Magic's necessarily tapping that high end yet. I just don't think. I don't think they have. I don't think that's their market strategy. I think they're going for more like indie stuff. Simon Molsk, I could do all you can eat beef, no problem. Back before COVID, I don't know if they still do it. They used to have the Brazilian steakhouse, and that's all you can eat, like steak or meats. I think they had pork too and chicken. But that's when they walk around with the swords. Have you ever had the Brazilians? I mean, it's awesome. They walk around with like sword. Oh, sir, would you like some filet mignon? Like, oh yes. And they just like cut you off a piece from the sword. Oh, I remember that. That was like a lot of beef. That was good stuff. Rigel7, you could always just claim to be with the History Channel. In Vegas, I don't think they care what you shoot with. They just yeah, they will let you do almost anything because I think also so much happens in Vegas. So right now, like the streets are chaos. Uh, Here, Texas State, Brazil. Is that what you're saying? Brazilian steakhouse, but the streets are chaos right now because I guess the NFL draft is next week, and they're going to have it on in the streets of Vegas. So they're closing down things in the Wynn fountains. That if you've been to Vegas, they have big fountains in front of the not the Wynn Bellagio, the Bellagio fountains. They built a stage on there, so they're gonna. I think they're. I don't know. They might actually do the draft in the Bellagio Lake. Go figure. Anyhow, so yes, we could talk about sushi. We could talk about buffets and all that stuff. Oh, and ever hear Norm Macdonald's bid on what stays in Vegas? No, I don't think I've heard that. I've heard the what stays in Vegas, your wallet, your money. Hot Metal Movie Productions. What's your favorite action movie? Well, right now it'd be Everything Everywhere All at Once. Although it's not really. I mean, it's sort of an action. It is an action movie, but it's not purely action. I would say Mad Max Fury Road. Fury Road is one is. I saw that like 4 times in the theaters. Like I love that movie so much. It was to me like it is a theme park ride. Martin Scorsese was right. Movie is a theme park ride, but it's the best roller coaster there is. It's just so good. I love that movie. Uh, oh, next year Formula One will have a race in Vegas. I'm staying at the MGM Park MGM, which had, and I kind of wanted to see it, but Lady Gaga was here last night because she's in Vegas. She has a residency in Vegas. She plays like Thursday through Sundays, but because it's called Jazz and Piano is what her show was, and you'd be surprised. So I wanted to go see it, but it was $200 for the cheapest ticket. I'm like, I don't want to swing $200 for a nosebleed ticket. I mean, that sounds like a terrible thing. $200, that's a lot. $80 I'd go, but $200, dang. So I just kind of wandered about and then saw the crowd coming out. 75% gray haired, older than me, and I'm old. Yeah, I'm not that old, but I'm old. I'm like 50, 60 and up. 75% of the crowd. Lady Gaga was old people. I mean, she was doing jazz, so it was like big band jazz, and she did a lot of stuff with Tony Bennett. So it's like that crowd that would love to see Tony Bennett. So because she had a great set with Tony Bennett, a couple years ago. Yeah. Mendo says, "Watch Uncharted was not bad. Nice classic action, no thrills. Cool. Yeah, I guess it's on streaming now, so I have to check that one out. I, I I realized it was based on a video game. Like I didn't realize it was based on a video game till way after, way after I think I saw it. Simon Molskred says, "Do you know of a film that was shot in visually interesting way, like reflections, weird glass, and analog visual effects?" Well, everything, everywhere, all at once. There's a lot of cool techniques they do in that video, that film. There are some, there's obviously there's some visual trickery that they do, but they have a lot of effects with that. I'm just, nah, I'm just gonna keep talking about that movie because I love it. Any GoPro accessories you would recommend getting? Uh, I don't know. I got a couple GoPros for my FPV drone. Obviously, ND filters are a must for GoPros because you can't really control shutter speed that well. So ND filters are because there's no iris on the GoPro. So ND filters are useful. Definitely try to get that. Other than that, meh. Maybe if obviously depends on what you're shooting. I guess if you have like a stabilizer or some sort of I don't know DJ Osmo thing, or I don't know if that works for a GoPro or not. Maybe that would be helpful. Mindo Work says, did you what did how did you find the latest bats? Is it just me, or is the cinematography near perfect, or kind of boring? I loved. I mean, I really liked it. It may not be in my love category, but it's pretty damn close. It's very enjoyable. I really did like the Batman. The Batman. Uh, People are saying it's got a lot of. We talked about it before. It's got a lot of flavors of uh, of. I'm blanking on the movie. David Fincher's Seven kind of feel vibe to it, but it has a lot of Hush. If you've watched the animated, I'm a big fan of all the animations, all the animated movies. I keep talking about it and then nonstop. I love all the Batman animated movies, but Hush is kind of the closest thing to it as far as dealing with Riddler and all that. So the hyper smooth on the GoPro is pretty nice. Although for drones, for like FPV drone, I find that the medium setting is probably the best because otherwise it just starts getting going wonky. But my friend he helped me shoot some of the stuff for the school. He did some drone from FPV drone work, and his flies really fast. And he was showing me this open source smoothing software that you can apply after the fact that works really well. Looks really good. So anyhow, Mindo works. Robert Pattinson's definitely my favorite Batman, though not over the top. Yeah, I think he was. I think again, it's not fair to say he didn't play Bruce Wayne very well, because I think at that point in his Bruce Wayne's life, he probably was very. He didn't have the Bruce Wayne character down yet. We've seen Batman before, and Bruce Wayne is always that swagger, James Bond, super charismatic, suave billionaire, right? Whereas Robert Pattinson hasn't gotten he's just developed his Batman. He hasn't developed the alter ego yet. So it's not fair to say, well, he didn't play a very good Bruce Wayne because maybe at that point in his life he wasn't that Bruce Wayne that we know yet. So that would be the criticism to say that, well, his Bruce Wayne was a little bit too mopey and down, but maybe not. Uh, Fun Sky says, have you ever been to Comet Ping Pong Pizza Parlor in DC? They have very special cheese pizzas there. Is this some sort of Pizzagate reference? I don't know what this is. Actually, I've been to DC once in my life, and I was a very young kid. And we didn't even go to the White House. We went and saw the Smithsonian and Washington Monument and all that stuff. I was like seventh grade, so it would have been like 12 years old or something like that. Christopher Mars has got a 4K TV. Tried watching 4K, but the bandwidth usage was crazy. No, I watch everything in 1080, but can't really tell the difference. Yeah, man. I mean, you're not going to. It's kind of like a hot tub too. Once you get in a hot tub, like, oh man, this is so hot, and you get used to it after a while. It's like you watch 4K TV, like, oh, this is amazing, and then after a while you get used to it. So it loses its ability to wow you. That's another thing. Somebody was commenting on my video about what was it, Gemini Man, and they asked me what is the next big thing in tech, and I thought, and I've been thinking this for a long time. I don't think the tech is going to matter. I think we're at the point we're post tech. I mean, tech is always going to improve and it's always going to be important, but I feel like we're post tech. We're at the point where like you have no excuse not to make something. Like you can wait till you get that 18K camera. Okay, but you can do it now. And it looks even better, right? So looks even great now with a 4K camera or even a 1080 camera. So I think it's a mistake to keep looking and saying, oh, what's the next big tech on the horizon? Because I don't think people go to the movies anymore to see tech. I just don't. And it's going to be a seismic shift in as far as what's going to happen to movie theaters. Yeah, I don't know. There's people talking about how movie theaters might go away once people get big TVs in their house. They won't want to go out again. Yes and no. Because it's much easier to ask a girl on a date to a movie theater than come back to your house and watch it. Although we all know as guys, like, you'd rather them come back to your house and watch a movie because what can happen. But there is something missing about the communal aspect of movie theaters. And as much as Red Letter Media bitches about how they hate the movie experience, uh, I think there's people that still enjoy that stuff. So, you know, I could sit at home and watch a movie, or I could go see a play, or so. There's all kinds of things. Yeah. Mindo, works ever shot in a desert, traveling to Jordan tomorrow. Ooh, fun. Lots to shoot. Wonder if my gear will survive. Yeah, just keep it shaded. Try not to let the sun hit the beat down as much as you can. But otherwise it's dry, so that's a good thing. Left hand puppetry, John. This with an H, John. I'm not the Jon. Those guys don't know how to spell their name. Anyhow, I just came with you. Prince Westerberg, I know a guy who uses a 185 pixel Hasselblad for L Vogue covers. He says all the photographers prefer 30 megapixel back as it just looks better with better color. Interesting. I can't wait. I mean, to me, I guess I would love to see a 4x5 digital camera. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but I would like to see it. I think it'd be pretty cool. But 4x5, I don't think you're going to get 185 pixel. I mean, you get 1,000 megapixels on a 4x5 film. Who knows? But there's almost no point in having that many megapixels. I just want to have the depth of field of 4x5 because it's kind of all. It is a very different feel when you shoot 4x5. Just a different look. And then I guess 8x10. The film guys are telling me, oh, you wait till you see 8x10. Well, I can't afford 8x10 right now. So Mido says I was thinking about sand more than anything. Yeah, just make sure you don't just stay as keep the sand from blowing into you. Most cameras are weatherproofed if you're shooting. If you don't change lenses and stuff like that, or if you do, just make sure you don't do it with a lot of wind and sand all over the place. Left Hand Puppetry, thank you so much for recommending Everything Everywhere. It was my first time back in the theater, and it was amazing. I'm glad you saw it. Isn't it an amazing film? I mean, it's great to see it as a first time back film, but it's such a breath of fresh air. It is so cool. It's such a good film. I'm just so blown away by that film. Nate Doler says a 4x5 sensor would catch fire instantly. Well, yeah. I mean, shooting video. I mean, I was thinking 4x5 sensors just shooting still photos. Oddly, the fashion guy with the Hasselblad did a shoot in Morocco, and every camera died. Stayed at least 2 feet above the desert floor. Interesting. Talk about film tech. Did you see Steve Yedlin's tech analysis? Yes, I did. Steve Yedlin's, I think, worth listening to because I think he has a super grounded understanding of the technology. Very interesting. Basically, past 1080p detail is indistinguishable. Needs better pixels. Pretty much. The question is, after 1080p, like, how do you get those pixels? And so there's different strategies. And one of the strategies is give me more pixels. Give me more pixels, more pixels, and then we'll sort out the details later. That's one strategy. The other strategy, okay, better pixels. Give me better pixels, and so that's the other strategy. So different companies approach it different ways. It's super. I think Steve Yedlin's analysis is basically it comes down to how the actual pixels are handled and the actual, I forget the terminology, the pipeline, the imaging pipeline. That's this big thing, right? The imaging pipeline and how the pixels are being handled. That makes the difference. And yep. Oh, 1080p is great on TV, but if you're using a projector, then 4K is very noticeably better. The projector is 1080p. Oh, boo-hoo. I was actually looking into a projector today. I mean, so much. There's so many. All the used projectors are not even 1080. They're like 1078 by 768, WXGA or whatever. Not VGA, but it's like super low quality. So I mean, you have to get pretty high end to get a 4K projector. And I wanted to do it for my movie about multidimensional elves, I wanted to put the dream girl in a white bodysuit and project like all kinds of patterns on her, and keep the face lit, and then just project like eyeballs just looking around. I think that'd be cool. I've done some projection art photography with some nude models before, and got some really cool results. And it's always fun to mess with photography like that. Maybe you should do a video on projectors. I just don't know much about projectors. That's the problem. I don't have any does really need for it. Uh, Left hand puppetry. I thought the only point of 4K was that we can crop it in post. Well, and also, I mean, I think visually you can tell certain things. Like if you shot a landscape, if you saw it like a cityscape shot in 4K versus 1080, the 4K will look slightly bit sharper. Not slightly, it will look sharper on a proper 4K display. Oh, cool. This stream is pretty poggers. Okay. This is my hang out with you guys for a little bit before I go chill out and get some dinner. So I bought $100 Canadian projector for a project. Definitely not 4K, no name. Yeah. Yep. I was looking on eBay and I actually saw one that looked pretty promising for 1080p, and it like retails new for 1,300, and I bid 250 and I got outbid. It ended up at 268. Like, shoot. Oh well. Ooh, there you go. Prince Westerberg says, I saw Alice in Wonderland at the Royal Albert Hall in 4K with the Royal Philharmonic playing the score. When I got in, I played the same film at 1080p and even Class A Valve Hi-Fi. It sucked. Well, I mean, it's Alice in Wonderland. Not the greatest. Which Alice in Wonderland? Is it the Tim Burton version or the original or the Disney animated one? Thomas Hines says, 4K, 8K is 16K next. No. You just came here for the rants. No. I don't see anybody, I don't see the average citizen ever buying anything more than 4K. I think the average citizen, average human being who's not a tech like insano person is going to go beyond 4K. I think 4K is the limit. That's just it. I mean, they might see a couple 8K TVs on the, but if you go to like Best Buy, like, oh, here's an 8K TV, here's a 4K TV, the average person's going to be like, I can't see a difference. Why is that one like 4 times the price or twice the price at 8K? You know, I don't see a difference, and they're not going to buy it. Mindo works. You need to go sleep. Long flight tomorrow. Wish me luck, boys. Good luck. Go to Jordan. Have fun. Don't let the dune bugs bite. Yeah. DJ TV says 16K resolution is real. It's just a concept back in the early 2010s. It's too ahead of its time. I don't think it's necessary. Prince Westerberg, Hollywood is going 8K, but you can imagine you'll need VR, AR. Yeah, okay. If you're shooting for VR, then it makes sense because, obviously, VR, you're only looking at a small portion of the screen. So you need to have 8K to surround the entire screen, and of which you're not even looking at most of the time. So yeah, I don't think VR is another one of those things that people got really excited about, and to me, it's kind of fizzled a little bit. Not that it's not real, not that it doesn't that there isn't application for it. I just don't. I mean, I think it's still kind of stuck in its little niche place. Like 3D TV is still not really there. 3D TV, no glasses needed. A 16 needed in 16K. Uh, like, like in the comment section, how many of you guys? When's the last time you saw a 3D movie? Like, go, just tell me. When's the last time you paid for a 3D movie, and what was it? I don't remember, honestly. The last time I saw a 3D movie, shoot, did I say maybe it was cinema? Maybe it was a Gemini Man. I don't think I've paid for a 3D movie in a long time. Titanic 3D. Okay, that's an Avatar. Avatar. That's long ago. So is 3D now? It's like I should do a video on 3D. That's really good one. Just like because it literally had like um, three different starts and stops basically. Rigel 7 3D might be a Marvel movie. Maybe it was Marvel Undo the Snap. Toy Story 3. Okay, that's been quite a few years since Toy Story 3. Doctor Strange in 3D. Okay. Well, Doctor Strange wasn't shot in 3D. It's all that stuff is like no one shoots 3D anymore. Like that's literally dead. Like IMAX is not really 3D anymore. Yeah, like no one actually shoots 3D. I remember back like 10 years ago at NAB, like when 3D was kind of starting to get hip, they're showing off like 3D technologies, 3D processes. But basically, at this point, no one shoots 3D. They basically rotoscope everything and they make it 3D. Like that, it's less headaches, less production. You can actually just make your movie in 2D, then send it off to like China or another or Vietnam and have people basically rotoscope every single shot and then just separate it dimensionally. That's all it is. What's the difference between shooting 3D and making it 3D? So shooting at 3D means you would shoot with either. There's a couple of techniques. I mean, the most popular techniques to have two cameras. There's a couple of different ways of accomplishing either two cameras side by side, or you do like sort of like a teleprompter, and you shoot one camera this way and shoot another camera shooting up, and you have a beam splitter, so you're getting an image through the camera here, and then another image bounces down here, and then you slightly offset the cameras. So that's one way. There was another technique that was kind of popular for a little bit, and I saw that in NAB a couple, well, now decade plus ago, where they would have a lens that has two objective lenses at the end, and they would go back and they would feed the sensor with two images side by side. So that was another way of doing 3D. The problem with that, though, is then you have to make all your decisions about parallax on the set. So you have to decide how far apart the cameras you want to make, and create that illusion of 3D. Whereas if you did it in post, you can decide all that stuff later, which might be the reason why everything else is going to post. Because not only is it more tricky to have two cameras going at the same time, you have to worry about gen locking both the cameras so they're both exactly the same frame. You don't want one camera being slightly ahead of the other camera. And then you have to make sure you have to edit, it's just annoying. And you have to make sure the cameras are lined up too, because you can't have one camera slightly pointed this way. So, yeah, that's why I think most movies gone by to just doing it post, because it's probably easier to work with, and it's probably not that expensive if you're Marvel. Spend $1 million, get a 3D version, and then make another, $50 million at the box office for upselling it. So anyhow, that's the reason. That's the difference. My BenQ projector has a 3D capability, but I don't use that feature at all. Okay, let's show you. I saw a real 3D film at IMAX in London, and before the film was 30-second IMAX trailer. They blew the main feature out of the water, like where you were there. LOL. Yeah, trailers can do that sometimes. Rigel 7 says, I directed a short family drama on a Red Scarlet Weapon back in October. Only found out recently we could have done it in 3D if we had a second Red. Now, if you had a second one. DJ Kevin says, okay, time to go back to Cinerama. There's a lot of love for Cinerama. I mean, I get it. It's cool. But good Lord, I don't like Cinerama. I don't really like there when I was a substitute teacher for a while. I actually took I never did grade school. I was always afraid doing grade school, like first through fifth grade. And so I remember I did one day where I was in elementary school, and I took the kids to a assembly. And the assembly, this was back in standard definition days. They actually had three projectors, and they made a movie with three different screens. And I remember doing the math, thinking 720 or 640. Don't consider 720 was the digital standard. 640 times three. What is that? Quick, 1920. 1920. 640 times 3 is 1920. So it's 1920 by 480 was the resolution of that film, of the video. So anyhow. Prince Westerberg says, I'm a 3D animator and making 3D versions, just adding extra virtual camera to double the render time, though. Yeah, I mean, so if you're Pixar and making like a Pixar movie, but do people want to see it? That's a problem. Like, I love, I love, oh dang, what's the name of that movie? I can't remember. I did Coco. That's what it is. I love Coco. Would I enjoy it more in 3D? I don't think so. I feel like 3D doesn't really add anything to it. Doesn't really add to anything to the storytelling experience. It's just a little flash in the pan kind of. It's a little like, oh, that's the other thing. Have you guys ever seen augmented theater? I guess 4X style screens. Basically, they take the movie screen and then they project additional content to the side of the screen, so your perspective is even wider. Like I saw Spider-Man No Way Home that way, and I found it distracting. I just did not like it. Like I just thought it was pointless. So, oh, he's Shane Ford. Here's the modern one. Saw Jungle Cruise in 3D in the theater. The seats moved like a roller coaster. During the pandemic, so wearing a mask and kept fogging up the 3D glasses. Ugh. The trick around that is to just buy a popcorn. Then you have to wear a mask. That's the trick. I'm eating popcorn. I can't have a mask on. Aren't 3D movies actually technically 4D? Yeah, it depends on who you ask. But then 2D movies are technically 3D because of the time dimension. Ooh. All right. Getting kind of tired, but we'll wrap up pretty soon. But hang out for a little bit. Go to the 90-minute mark. Thomas Hines, remember when being at Disney World, they showed a movie in 360 degrees. Remember being surrounded by a movie. It was awesome. My mom fell. Yeah, my dad, that was called Cinerama 360 or Cinema Surround. It was at Disneyland as well. And yeah, they had that one where they did the whitewater rafting. And it's like, whoa. Yeah, that was, my dad felt really. See, back in the day, when this is like 1989, 90s, right? We bought my very first video camera. It was a high 8, original high 8, and it was a handy cam about this yay so big. But I remember when my dad and I would operate it, and like we'd zoom in, and you would get sick watching it because it had no lens. Like lens stability was a pipe dream in the 90s. All right, total pipe dream in the 90s. So when you zoomed in, it's like all little heavy shakiness, and you would just you couldn't look at the screen. That's another kind of a downside with high frame rate is like when you have like 60i, which is 60p basically, with a little bit of camera shake, you feel that camera shake and it just makes you nauseous. I don't know if I would still look at that footage now and be nauseous. I think I would because I think no image stabilization at 60 hertz is going to make you kind of sick. So, let's see what you're saying. It's kind of the same thing saying 2K is 1080p. Yeah, I mean it is. 2K is pretty much. Yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's not that far. Kid Valhalla, thanks, man. Thank you for hanging out. Yeah, like I said, it's been a while since I've been able to drop by. And of course, every time I do a live stream, I'm going to have one comment that says, "I wish you would make those videos again." It's like, well, I wish I could too, but live streams are fun. I get to hang out with you guys. It's a different sort of atmosphere than making a video where I have to slave for hours and hours writing a script, and then the YouTube algorithm does not pick it up because it's for whatever reason. But and I'm not complaining. I am complaining. I'm always complaining. I'm a ranting person. I'm a dark soul, right? I'm a downer. Sorry about that. No. Anyhow, now if you have more comments, we'll wrap it up here pretty soon. What else is new? Oh, we gotta see that Nick Cage movie, The Unbelievable Bearing of immense talent or whatever. A friend of mine that went to see the Northman. She's a It's a friend. His wife is a huge Nick Cage fan. Like, oh, did you know that the unbearable weight of immense talent is also opening too? It's like, oh my god, really? We gotta see that. So hopefully we can see that too. And I gotta invite them over, invite all my friends over to watch everything everywhere all at once when it comes out on streaming or Blu-ray or whatever, because I want to freaking buy the crap out of that movie. And I'm screaming my top of my lungs. Everyone go see the movie. All right. Well, you guys are seeming kind of quiet, so I'm gonna wrap it up here pretty soon. Horror movies. What movie horror movie did my mom watch the other day? Oh, we watched Pet Cemetery. that was that was pretty disturbing. My mom loves My mom loves horror movies because she doesn't understand English very well. She's got dementia, so she doesn't understand most anything. But horror still affects her, so she can still appreciate horror. So we watched Pet Cemetery. And I kept figuring out who that is. Is that? I finally realized it's John Wynn. What's his name? Wynn from Fred Wynn from the Munsters that played the old guy. That movie. That movie. Oh my god. That was good. I enjoyed that though. Left Hand, thank you for doing these streams, John. I appreciate that. Because I get comments saying the opposite, saying I shouldn't be doing this crap. But I enjoy it and it's easy to do. It's a chance for me to hang out with you guys. Yes, Pet Cemetery, the original Stephen King, the one with the girl from Star Trek, Denise Crosby. Yeah. What is a Ute? We're going to watch. What is a Ute? These Utes these days. What's that movie? My Cousin Vinny. There it is. My Cousin Vinny. What is a Ute? All right. Well, it is 4:30. I'm going to chill out for a little bit before I head on out and get my feed bag on and endless mimosas. So if I do another live stream tonight, I don't know if you guys want to see another live stream. It'll be very, very, very different. Very lightheaded if we do that. I don't know if we do. We'll see how it is. Just watched Vibes with Jeff Goldblum and Cyndi Lauper. Huh, never heard of that one. I have to check that one out. My Cousin Vinny. My friend works at O'Reilly's. I keep saying to ask him, what kind of carburetor? What's the carburetor angle for a 1956 Chevy? Just go on that. Well, that's a trick question because the 1956 Chevy doesn't have a carburetor, like that line, whatever that was. Oh, DJ, thanks for go watch my older videos. Remnants from the time I used to have hair. All right, guys, I'm going to chill out for a bit, and I will talk to you next time. We'll try to do something. We got to do some more. We'll do another live stream. Maybe we'll get back in the studio this week. Maybe not, but we'll definitely do one next week. All right, guys, we will see you guys. Have a lovely evening. Take care. Take care, Rick, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye now.